Gary Whetton joins us now. Gary, listen, mate, thanks so much for taking some time to talk to us. Welcome to the show, mate.
Michael, thank you.
Gary, you were an All Black captain. You were played under Grizz Wyllie. You were both, the two of you, seen as, I don't know, leading icons during the early 1990s, late 1980s. What was it like being a player under Grizz?
An experience, definitely. Someone you took your time to get to know and him to get to know us, but a very, very loyal man at the end of the day. He in some ways might have lived different personas of what the public thought of him and what he was behind the scenes. And that was a very loyal man and a man who just believed in the well-being and wanting to do the best for his country and his players.
Yeah, because you came from Auckland and he came from Canterbury, and at that time it was like, I don't know, a civil war, wasn't it? I mean, the fact that the
Oh,
two of you could
yep.
get together would be remarkable.
Well, it's about the whole team, I suppose, and that's a very good point. Remembering Grizz got in with Wyllie, with BJ Lahore and John Hart for the 87 World Cup. Those two were the selectors, along with BJ coaching the side. So the team got to know Grizz then because he looked after the forwards a fair bit in that World Cup. And then we got to know each other. Then he took over for the next 4 years. He was my coach, and for 2.5 years of that, I was his captain. And Aucklanders were different. He came up to me once over the years. He said, "Look, Gary, we've got a whole lot of you Aucklanders in the team, about 12 here. I'm finding it a bit difficult sometimes to quite understand how they click and how they go on about it." And good old Grizz, he's up front with that. He's used to the straight up ways, and the team did it proud, and he did us proud, and it worked out well. But he did have his moments where we were a bit different, chalk and cheese, red and black to blue and white.
In what way did you have the moments you're talking about there, Gary?
Oh, well, look, Grizz just, there's a lot of pressure, as you can understand, there always is, if you're playing for your country and you're All Black and if you're the coach, and if it doesn't quite go well, when everything goes well, as any coach will tell you, it's easy. Any DJ will tell you that too. When things are going well, things are good. And when there is question marks asked or it gets a bit more difficult, the pressure goes on. It's how you respond to that. And, when we worked those things out, it wasn't easy sometimes in regards to either selection. He selected the team. I never did. Nothing to do with that. Here's your team. And then it was about the tactics and how we want to play it. But there are obviously times when the good old press, made it more difficult than easier. They could ask a question. That's fair enough. But everyone's just trying to do their own thing. In those days, Michael, we weren't getting paid for it. We just wanted to do it for the honour and the glory.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I was just thinking, Gary, that was a dominant era from sort of 87 onwards. You sort of revolutionised the game as well to a large extent. But then we come, and Grizz is at the head of that, and so are you, and New Zealand's very proud, and we're all very happy. And then, for reasons that I've never quite understood, Brett, you might be obviously better placed than I, John Hart, who was the Mercurial Auckland coach, and Grizz Wyllie are forced to take you both away to the World Cup in 1991. What was that about, mate? And what was it like being coached by both of them?
Well, it was an unusual situation. There's no doubt about that. You have to ask New Zealand Rugby and those guys of the day, because they're the ones who made those calls, nothing to do with us. But it was a bit difficult. They're both very good, extraordinary coaches in their day and in their time. Two different ways of coaching and dealing with people. And at various stages, it was a bit difficult where one coach wanted to or play this way or select this way and one the other. So at some stages, you're in the middle a bit, just in the sense of one coming to you and the other. But they wanted to do the right thing. It's just that you got two very strong men there coaching a team.
And from a point of view for you as the captain and being in that particular squad, who was dominant?
They both were dominant, believe me. So that was the issue sometimes, I suppose. They're both dominant, and it didn't make it easy sometimes, and then other times it was. But, that's the way it went. That's what we're dealt.
Okay. All right. Now, You look back now and you go, you lost one game, that semi-final at Dublin against the Wallabies, a very good Wallabies team. There was no shame in that at all. But having said that, did you feel that, I don't know that New Zealand would react in quite the same way now to a loss in those circumstances as they did then. Did they, I mean, they
That's a
both,
very good point. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
it was bad, wasn't it? The reaction to that.
Oh, look, it wasn't easy. There's no doubt about that. You all suffer. No one likes to lose, and your friends and your family and everyone else. The vitriol you get and the people in their comments is very, very tough in those days. Today, they're a lot more accepting of it because they lose a lot more. Put it simple as that. They got used to it. We didn't get used to it. We weren't allowed to lose.
No. No, exactly. And you lost one game, and that was the end of it, basically. And Laurie
Yeah,
Mains
you
came
didn't
in
even know that
1990.
until you heard it on the radio.
Sorry?
You didn't even know if you're not going to be picked or chosen. You heard on the radio when they read out the team.
Yeah, so there was no such thing as man management then, though, Gary.
No, definitely not. Just being a man.
Yeah, and dealing with the vicissitudes of fate, I guess. Listen, after now after '91, there was a lot of fallout, but one of the great fallouts was they got rid of Grizz Wyllie and John Hart, I think, and Laurie
And
Mains
myself.
came.
And myself.
And yourself,
And
yeah, a
myself.
huge
Yeah.
clean out. That's right, of people. And so you were basically held guilty for that. Grizz didn't stop though. He carried on coaching, and he coached internationally. I think he coached Argentina for a long time there. Did you have much to do with him after that?
Yeah. We just would catch up and have chats about where we'd been, what we went through, along with every so often we'd catch up, or John Sturgeon, who was the manager, who's a great man from the West Coast. So Chris and I would bump into each other or see each other, but nothing like that. No, in those days, you were playing rugby, but it wasn't a career. And I just stepped off and got into my next stage of my life with a young family in my career. And Grizz obviously had rugby in his blood. He was an ex-farmer, didn't really go back to farming, and he plied his trade, which he was good at.
Okay. And so, I mean, it's really fascinating, isn't it? These days, you look at the rugby players, they have a pretty, well, I think, pretty cosseted lifestyle compared to you guys. They're richly remunerated and they retire on good fortunes, thank you very much, if they look after themselves. Do you ever look at them and think, God, I wish the professional era had started 10 years earlier for you?
No, I don't. In the sense, look, don't get me wrong, it would be nice to have got some dollars for playing the game, but in my era, right up to I finished rugby 2 years before it went professional, and I had a great time with it, 11 years the All Blacks and pluses and all that. But I had my building up a career. I was a fisher and piker in those days. They were excellent employers, doing marketing, sales, and build up into my next business. So I learned a lot from rugby because we toured a lot. We all had to learn to get up and talk to the media or do after dinner speeches because there's always a dinner after each game you ever played. And being a captain, you had to make those. No, I don't regret that at all. It would be nice to get a handout, but it never came into it in those days. You just wanted to wear the black jersey.
No, good on you, mate, and much appreciated. And we still have great memories of that time. Thank you so much for talking to us, Gary, and look forward to catching up to you in the future, mate.
Very good, Michael. Thank you.
Good on you. Thank you. Gary Whetton, former All Black captain, Grizz Wyllie, passed over the weekend.